Travis Kelce is once again being drafted as the overall tight end one. But if you were to prioritize the next tier of tight ends, thinking they'll close the gap in fantasy points, this is the year to do it. And who closes that gap is under our noses. It's not T.J. Hockenson, who is being mistaken for a player with a position-winning ceiling when that hasn't been the case throughout his career. His opportunity did increase at the trade deadline, surging from 6.1 targets per game to 8.6 with Minnesota, the second most at his position. But his actual production after changing teams remains overblown. Hockenson's 9.9 points per game and 6 yards per target with the Vikings were actually worse marks than his 10.3 points and 9.1 yards per target in Detroit. He also only reached 80 receiving yards in 2 games with the Vikings, both times against the same Giants defense that permitted the 9th most receptions to opposing tight ends that year. He did have a higher floor in Minnesota, closing with 5 top 12 finishes over his last 12 games, but you shouldn't be spending 4th round picks on players with high floors. That's draft capital we should be saving to win our leagues. And with Jordan Addison drafted in the 1st round and only one performance inside the top 6 tight ends whenever he joined the Vikings, Hockenson is a player who won't lose your league, but won't win it for you either. We can say the same thing about George Kittle. Including the playoffs, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and Brandon Ayuk all played 6 games together with Brock Purdy. And in those games, it was Samuel who led the team with a 25.5% target share. Kittle actually ranked last among that group with an 11.5% target share and only 5.5 fantasy points per game. But in 4 games without Deebo, Kittle exploded for a team-high 24.3% target share and 18 points per game. But he's being drafted at the end of the 5th round as if Deebo was still injured. That doesn't make sense. Everyone can pretend that Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, or Darren Waller can take down Kelce. But there's really only one answer. Mark Andrews' 10.3 points per game on the season were a far cry from the 14.6 he averaged in 2021. But in 11 full starts to Lamar Jackson, Andrews averaged an increased 11.8 points and team-high 24.5% target share. New OC Todd Monken has already mentioned more passing and play volume for this offense, and the likely beneficiary is Mark Andrews.
What's been done here in the past in terms of running the football and controlling the game, and yet maybe bringing things up, in terms of more up to speed, I guess, or what I'm used to, which is maybe a little more open sets, a little bit more space.
We're going to throw the ball. We're going to be up-tempo probably even more than we've been. We've been that at times. Maybe a little more no huddle, maybe, perhaps.
I mean, just being able to throw the ball down the field. We sometimes, we can't. Running can only take you so far, and I feel like with this new era of teams and offenses in the league, I feel like we need that, and Coach Todd Monken, what I'm seeing his offense so far is looking tremendous.
And with Andrews being drafted in the mid-3rd round, you could even stack him with Lamar in the comeback in the 4th. That's how you take down Kelce this year. And remember, be a little bit kinder than what's required.